This is Jeremy Burston, and you're listening to Mike Delivers with Mike Biseglia. Mike and I have been best friends since the first grade, and in 2006, I brought him with me when I moved to Charlottesville, Virginia, a place where he would start his career, meet his wife, and most importantly, win the College World Series on MVP Baseball 2006, with a custom team made up entirely of people we went to elementary school with. Good times.
Need more Mike Delivers? Head over to patreon.com or download the Patreon app and type in Mike Delivers. Get a full catalog of bonus podcasts like the one time Mike crashed his wife's 2007 Toyota Rav4, behind-the-scenes videos, and more food reviews. Go to Patreon and check it out now.
My name is Mike Biseglia. I'm 37 years old, and I use the Lawnmower 3.0. Use my promo code Mike Delivers, all one word, and you can get 20% off plus free shipping on your own Lawnmower 3.0. What is the Lawnmower 3.0? It is an electric trimmer that cleans your ball hair. I recommend it. I use it, and it's helped my life tremendously. As a 37-year-old that's feeling bad about himself because he turned 37 and the age has turned a corner, the best thing I have going for me right now is the Lawnmower 3.0. Use my promo code, Mike Delivers, all one word. You get 20% off. You can even have mine. You can have my used lawnmower 3.0.
Welcome inside Mike Delivers from his wife's 2017 Toyota Rav4. Here's your host, Mike Biseglia.
That's right. This is Mike Delivers, episode number 75, which is crazy to say out loud. And I'm coming to you from my wife's closet in Bloomfield, New Jersey. You can find this podcast where all major podcasts are found, like Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and of course, Apple Pod. Go ahead, leave a 5-star rating, leave a comment in the comment section, and I will read that later on in the episode as well. You can follow me on all social media platforms, Mike Delivers Pod. Please do so if you have not already. I also want to introduce the Pros Club to everybody listening. That is the website that I've helped to develop and create where you can get other original content like Mike Delivers. There's other podcasts on there. Go ahead and check it out. Bad Weather Fans, Outside the Box with Mike and Leon, and Real Talk Basketball with former NBA guard Rex Walters. I highly recommend everybody check it out. Also, big time shout out to the O'Brien Creative Group. They're the guys that made my logo. It's awesome. I love it. If you want your own logo like mine, well, it doesn't look like mine, but you can do your own version. Point is, it'll look great. Head over to o'briencreativegroup.com. You can find them in my show notes as well. And besides logo creation, they do brand identity and helping small businesses and little podcasts like me help to grow and develop. I will be revamping the Patreon page, so stay tuned for information on that. But if you would like to hear how I crashed my wife's 2007 Toyota Rav4, head over to Mike Delivers on patreon.com. Sign up, become a big tipper, and you can see how I fucked up, or hear how I fucked up. There's also some great bonus content on there. Basically, it's a full catalog of other episodes, my wife and I doing food reviews, bullshitting about life, stories from the road, and how my wife's 2007 Toyota Rav4 no longer exists. That was by far the hardest episode, the hardest podcast I've had to record, because I had to talk about an accident, and it was extremely difficult, and even saying it now, I'm starting to get depressed. So let's move along. Thank you, Michael Louis Biseglia. I'm excited in this episode because I'm talking to a Pittsburgh Steeler linebacker, Ulysees Gilbert. So all you Pittsburgh fans out there that listen to the podcast, he's going to talk about some of his favorite restaurants, spots to eat, as a Steeler, where he likes to go around town. So I think everybody will be interested in that, and then especially the Pittsburgh contingency that I know is a big part of the listening audience for this podcast. I had no intentions of the Dean Blandino episode to blow up like it did. It made national national headlines, which was just wild to see when you Google Mike Delivers podcast, and it was coming up on Yahoo Sports, USA Today Sports, the Sporting News. It was just a strange sight. So if you haven't listened to episode 73 with Dean Blandino, he reveals a Thanksgiving mishap, and that blew up the internet. So that was cool to see. And when I did this podcast, I'm now on episode 75, and if you remember, everybody, it used to be basketball drives. The intention wasn't to make breaking news, but it was cool to have some big-time guests and do that. So I'm going to continue to try to get big guests here on this podcast and have some breaking news. And today, we've got a Pittsburgh Steeler. And the biggest takeaway from that, a little tease here, there's a spot in Pittsburgh he's not a huge fan of, which might be controversial to some of the people that will be listening. So my conversation with Ulysees Gilbert coming up in just a matter of moments. Also, stories from my time at Syracuse. Going to continue that. Josh Gutterman has some good stories that he will continue to expound on, and that will come after the interview with Ulysees Gilbert. May Madness continues. My wife and I just tried the Firehouse subs, so that'll be episode 76, which drops on Thursday. So for those that have been into the May Madness with the sandwiches, Jersey Mike's and Subway in the books, Firehouse subs is coming your way on Thursday. All right, so let's talk a little Pittsburgh food scene. Let's talk a little bit Pittsburgh Steelers. I've got a Steelers linebacker. My conversation with Ulysees Gilbert. This is from a couple weeks back, right after the NFL schedule had dropped. So excited for all you guys to hear this. And again, there's a Pittsburgh spot he doesn't love. Which one could it be? Joined right now by Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker Ulysees Gilbert, who's joining me on the Mike Delivers podcast. Ulysees, thanks for hopping on right now and talking a little food. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on, and I'm ready to talk about some good Pittsburgh food.
Yeah, I love it. So first off, I want to see how is everything going with your rehab. You're down in Florida. How is everything with you physically right now?
It's going great, man. I got clear for doing everything. So if we were doing football right now, I will be able to do everything that the coaches will allow me to do, as in practice and workouts and stuff like that. But since it's not happening, I am doing workouts down in Florida, back in my hometown. So I'm enjoying the sun, enjoying family, also getting better each and every day. So I'm doing good.
Very cool. Good to hear. All right. So first off, I have to tell you, I'm a New York Giants fan, and I saw the NFL schedule come out yesterday, and my wife is a diehard Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Yeah.
And we're actually, we're expecting our first kid on September 6th. And then that first game is September. Thank you. And that first game, hopefully, between the Giants and Steelers is September 14th. So I instantly got a little anxiety thinking about having to watch that game with my newborn and my wife. I got a little nervous thinking about that.
Oh man, that's gonna be something else. Hopefully, we'll put on the show.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So let's talk a little Pittsburgh food first. Your introduction, your rookie season. Were there some spots or some restaurants that you found that you ended up loving in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, man, I'm a big breakfast person. So Pamela's is one of my top favorites. That's one of my top favorites. And then Old Charlie's down in the South Side. I don't know if you had that one either, but it's a nice little breakfast place as well, man. It just feel like home cooked. They cook it right to order, man. It's fresh and it just tastes amazing. So those are my two top favorites. What's
the go-to meal to get at Pamela's? It's the pancakes, right? Are they famous for that, or am I incorrect?
They are pretty famous for the pancakes. I think they're big as a plate. But I don't really go there. I just differ, man. I kind of choose all over the menu. I got the pancakes before. I got the waffles. I got the corned beef hash. Man, I got the egg sandwiches with turkey sausage on it, man. Everything they do is just amazing. It's probably my favorite breakfast place in Pittsburgh, for sure.
I'll give you another place I recommend that I've been to a bunch. I'm curious if you've heard of it. Have you heard of the Doorstop restaurant in Pittsburgh for breakfast?
No, I haven't.
All right. So Doorstop was featured on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, and they do something called like hot cake pancakes. I mean, if you eat them, you're probably going to gain 5 pounds in one sitting, but they're awesome. So I highly recommend the Doorstop. whenever we're, allowed to leave our houses and you're back in Pittsburgh.
Exactly. Whenever I'm back in Pittsburgh, I would definitely check it out.
And can do all that stuff. All right, so that's cool. How about dinner side of things? I know you mentioned you're just a big breakfast guy. Dinner place. Or even if it's just lunch or something you're kidding, like after practice, there's like, I got to get to this place. What are you thinking?
It's hard, man. It's hard. Definitely if it's just Pittsburghish. Close to my apartment is Cheesecake, so I feel like I'm always there. But that's like a chain restaurant, so I don't know if I really would count that as Pittsburgh. But for dinner, I like that place. It's a seafood place up on Mount Washington.
Yeah, okay.
You can see the view from it. I forgot what it's called.
I think I know what I think I know what you're talking about, though. I haven't been there. It's on the tip of my tongue too, but my in-laws always talk about going there for like special occasions, and different things like that for big spot. And the view up there is beautiful. I always tell people, because I have such a rich background in Pittsburgh. My mom's from Squirrel Hill. I met my wife in Virginia, but her family's from Mount Lebanon, and I always tell people it's one of the most underrated cities, I think, in the whole country.
Oh, truly. It truly is. Because you really don't hear about Pittsburgh much besides the Steelers. But once you go there and you get to see the view of Mount Washington and just like the food and just kind of how the city is, it's something that's very underrated. Very underrated. I agree with you.
Have you done the Permane Brothers yet? I
have done it.
And is it up to the hype? Is it a little overrated? What do you think?
They might hate me for this, but I'm not. I'm not too big on Permane Brothers. I don't know what it is. I think for me, it's because the bread is not hot. I think that's my biggest thing. It kind of like they have everything else hot, but the bread is kind of like thick and cold. And I think that's my biggest downfall of Permane Brothers. But yeah, so that's not really my go-to. Only been there like once or twice.
Interesting perspective. So you're saying I never thought of it like that. The hotter meats and then the hotter French fries with the colder bread. You don't think that works?
No, it don't really work for me. I'd rather have like everything hot and then maybe have the bread like smashed down or just toasted a little bit. But just the cold, just regular bread and with everything hot, it really don't do it for me per se. So that's why I really haven't been back.
I've been to Permane's, I think like maybe just once in my life, but I think what ends up happening, and it's a great sandwich, obviously, but I think what ends up happening is people you like kind of live off just talking about it for so many years that it becomes a staple, maybe even if it's not people's favorite. So I appreciate your honesty here and, the hard-hitting questions about Permane in Pittsburgh. I respect that.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man, because, that was my biggest thing. Everybody talked about it. And I think that sometimes can mess me up when somebody talk about it so highly.
Right.
And then, you expect something else, and then it might not be that. But at the end of the day, like, if I went there without anybody telling me about it, I probably could have enjoyed it more. It just probably maybe the hype in my mind, and it just didn't add up to the hype. So that's probably really the only reason. But, I have nothing against it. It's just not really a place for me, so.
No, I totally understand. How about when you're on the road, going to different cities, even looking back to your college days, you can include that also. What has you found to be your favorite city to eat on the road? Or when you're kind of playing football, you don't even exactly have time to get to any of that?
Yeah, when I'm playing football, it's a group of guys that usually go out and go somewhere. I usually stay back, honestly. I usually just get something from the hotel or whatever they have for us. But if you want to go back to college days, Diamond Deli in Akron, Ohio is probably my top favorite sandwich place in Akron, and probably seven place I've been to. I end up knowing the guys real well there, so every time I went, I always changed it up. I always got a different sandwich. And also they make anything you want, so it's kind of like a Subway at the same time, but it's way more better, like everything mostly hot. It's the sandwiches are like pretty much falling over. It's not like a messy sandwich, but at the end of the day, it's amazing. And they just got amazing food. A little small shop. So it's one of those small businesses that I just supported over in Akron, but I loved it.
What was the name of it again? I want to write it down so I can make sure to check this out.
Diamond Deli.
Diamond Deli. After you would play a game, in college or in the NFL, what is that hunger level like? That's something like I'll never experience that. I play, rec league basketball, and I leave these games and I'm eating like a monster. And this is, 30 minutes with me and my schlub friends. So I'm curious what it's like as a professional athlete when you're gearing up all day, and now it's like you can finally go, what is that experience like?
It's insane, honestly. It's insane because, you just have so much adrenaline from the game. And then when you're done, you still kind of like have that adrenaline because sometimes I don't even sleep after that game. I'm just staying up till 2 or 3 in the morning. But even then, it's like you just starving. Like you just automatically, your stomach just starts to rumble and growl. And you just trying to eat anything that you see. And definitely when we're away, they usually give us some food. So it could be like rice and chicken. It could be Chick-fil-A. It could be anything like that. But when I'm back in Pittsburgh and probably go home, I'll probably get like wings over Pittsburgh. I don't know if you ever had that, but I'm a big wings person.
Oh, yeah.
But it's down there on the south side as well, and it's amazing. I love the wings and all the different types of sauces they have as well.
Yeah, the south side's fun. I think I read, I think I saw this. It's got like the most bars per capita an area, and the restaurants there. It is. Yeah. It can be that's a wild spot, but like total fun place to hang.
Yeah, it is. It's a wild spot, but it's close to facility, so that's why I stay down there. So I just wanted to be closer. But yeah, they do have a lot of great little small restaurants, actually some good bars as well. So.
How about after the games and you're flying home? I'm always just kind of curious that flight back, and let's say it's after a win, so everybody's in a better mood. Mm-hmm. What is the food like on an airplane flight back? And let's say you're coming from a West Coast type game, and there's more time.
It's also amazing. They kind of cater it to us. It depends what state we're in. And they probably get like the best food from each state, and they just cater to us. But the food is amazing. Like one time we was in Tennessee, so we had barbecue. So the barbecue was amazing. Had like pulled pork, we had brisket, macaroni and cheese, and just cornbread and just stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that meal a lot because it reminds me so much of home. So. That it's just usually on the road, like the West Coast, you will have they try to either get you something healthy or something bad, but the food is always amazing. I'm not gonna lie. So
that's good. Now after the games, because you've exerted so much energy, you've obviously the exercise involved and everything playing on these games and you mentioned your hunger level. Do you ever Is it almost a sense of like you're feeling like you're overeating, or it's like you just don't even care at that point because it's just about shoveling it in?
It just depends. Sometimes I'll start eating and then I get full quick. It just be like, dang, like I thought I was so hungry and I just got full out of nowhere. And then sometimes I'm trying to eat everything in my way. So it just differs. Maybe a win helps that as well. But yeah, definitely some food is just better than others, and sometimes for me it's just like I want everything, and other times it's like I take a bite and then I just be like, dang, I'm not even hungry no more. So it's crazy.
Any teammates of yours where you saw some of the foods they're eating, or they introduced you to something maybe you haven't seen before and you were like, what in the hell is this? Where did this come from?
Yeah, one of my teammates, Robert Spillane, I don't know, I forgot, I don't want to say it's Cusco, but I think that's what he said. It's kind of like raw. It's raw something, some type of raw meat, and they kind of like mix it up and put it on crackers. And I was just like, bro, I cannot do it. I think it was like raw steak or something. I'm just like, yo, how y'all? I was like, how are you eating this right now? And it was like, just try it. It just tastes so good all together. And I couldn't get myself to do it. But everybody just tried different stuff, man. It's all different type of stuff you can try. Some people like to try oysters or clams and stuff like that. I don't mind it cooked, but when it's raw, I don't really do raw food. So
you're not doing the sushi game?
I do sushi, but like I said, I'd rather have like either it be more vegetable or more like fry based, like a shrimp tempura or something. I'm not really big into the raw tuna or anything like that. So
No, I understand. I'll tell you though, I got into it and it's like now I'm obsessed with it. So maybe have you given it a shot? I'm saying maybe try it, do it for me. We'll get you on the podcast
Okay.
next time. We could get your full food review. You could give us some salmon and tuna, or I'm probably just not even going to attempt this one.
No, I'll try. I'll try it for you. I'll try it for you. So next time we're on the podcast, I'll let you know how it goes.
Awesome. I love it. All right. How about Uber Eats or DoorDash or any of the third-party delivery services? Do you find yourself using them a lot?
Honestly, I don't, man. I'm kind of old-fashioned in that sense. I'd rather go to the restaurant and sit down, honestly, even if it's by myself. It's just something about me, just like to get out the house and go sit down, people watch, or just watch the TV in some type of restaurant. I'm big on that. So I really don't use those too much, honestly.
You know, it's funny is I'm a delivery driver, but I'm the same way. I hate the idea of it because I have this big phobia, and this just drives me nuts. If I get food to the house and then it's cold, and I'm like,
Yes.
I paid 40, 50, whatever dollars, and now I have this steak I was supposed to love. I'm like, I spent $30 for a cold steak. That drives me nuts.
Exactly. And another thing that drives me nuts as well is that sometimes you don't get the same portions as you would get if you went to the restaurant.
Bingo.
And that's something that really bothers me as well. Like if you get pasta, then it's either cold and not as much as you will go to the restaurant. And that really pisses me off too, because like you pay more for them bringing it to you and also for the meal, and it's not even as good as the restaurant. So I'd rather just get up and just go to the restaurant. So
yeah, the big one with that I've found is salads, where you get like a big salad that you want, and then you get it in takeout, and it's just kind of in like those small tin containers.
Yes,
It's a third of the salad. You get screwed.
Exactly.
It's like give me two of these together or something. Do that for me.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. If you were to get food and bring it back to your house, so as I just mentioned, I have to heat it up. If, for example, you brought a pizza back to your house, would you eat it as is, or would you pop it in the microwave for a few minutes or a few seconds?
I'll probably pop it in like the oven or the microwave. If it's not too cold, I might just eat it, because I've definitely eaten pizza cold. I'm not gonna lie, and it's really not that bad to me. But if I had a choice, I'd probably put it in the oven and just let it bake a little bit more and then eat it that way.
What's the one food that you just love when it's, fresh and hot, but then the idea of it as a leftover grosses you out? Like, for example, for me, I can't imagine, like I love hamburgers, but then the idea of eating into a cold hamburger with a stale bun, I can't stand. So what's an example of a food like that you love fresh, but would never want to have as a leftover?
Hamburger. Probably something like a hamburger or fries. That's me. Fries is always better warm. Never I eat fries cold. I never. That just is not too good to me.
There's a place, I'm trying to think. I think it's in Oakland, if you've been to. I'm trying to remember the name, that's famous for their French fries. I want to say it's called the O, maybe? Does that sound familiar?
No, that doesn't sound. No, I don't. Mm-mm.
I think it's in Oakland. It's a good spot for French fries, but I understand that's one thing as a driver I've seen a million times. When you get French fries, those things go cold super fast.
Yeah, I never tried O, but yeah, when fries get cold fast, it really just ruins it. Because I'm a big fry person as well. I love fries. So when I get cold fries, it really kind of just messes me up.
Yeah, no, completely understand. It's a game changer. Well, Ulysees, I've appreciated you coming on the podcast, talking a little bit about some food. You mentioned before you like some of the breakfast spots that reminds you of home. Well, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Ocala, Florida. It's kind of like central, little below Gainesville and north of Orlando.
What were your favorite places growing up to go to eat?
Either IHOP, Waffle House. Really, my mom's house. Like my mom's cooking and my grandma's cooking. My whole family cooking is probably top any restaurant I've probably been in Ocala. To be honest with you.
So what was your family, your mom preparing for you that you loved?
Oh, the waffles, eggs, and like turkey sausage. That's my go-to. And for like dinner, it's like chicken and rice with some type of beans and vegetables. I love that. And then we usually do like a a fish fry every Friday back in the day when we had all my cousins around. So we do a fish fry and have fish and grits, either broiled or fried. So those are the days, man.
Well, now that I'm absolutely starving, we got 2 more questions for you. This is what I asked to everybody that's on my podcast. I just asked that you're completely honest. So the first question is, last 7 days, starting from right now, what's the best thing you've ate?
Last 7 things. Best thing I ate. Oh, man. Probably just the other day, my uncle grilled some barbecue chicken. And I had that with some rice and beans and some sauteed spinach and broccoli. And that was probably the best meal I've had.
And then my last question for you is, let's say it's in 6 months and we're allowed to leave our house and we're back to a normal life. 6 months, you're sending out your wedding invitations. Do I get an invitation to your wedding?
Oh, for sure. Gotta come. You gotta come.
Thank you. I appreciate the invite. Ulysses, appreciate you coming on Mike Delivers podcast. And next time we talk to each other, we'll talk about all the sushi you've been eating.
All right, perfect, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Ulysses, jumping on the podcast with me. Had a fun time talking about your hometown, talking about your time in college, and, of course, talking about some Pittsburgh restaurants and Pittsburgh food. Not the biggest Permane Brothers guy. So think about this now on this podcast. I've had Ulysees Gilbert tell me he's not a big fan. I shouldn't say he doesn't dislike, but he's not a huge fan of Permane Brothers in Pittsburgh. And then Ty Jerome, former UVA standout who's now with the Phoenix Suns, who came onto this podcast, saying he's not a huge Bodos guy. To me, this is huge news. Anti-Permanes, anti-Bodos. This is the news I'm here for on the Mike Delivers podcast. All right, let's take a trip down memory lane. Time for me to go back in time. Here's my bud Josh Gutterman reliving and talking about some of the stories that happened while we were back at Syracuse University.
Throughout our time at Syracuse, Mike would occasionally have times where he thought it would be cool if we shotgunned beers. And so one year on Halloween, we were all getting ready to go out, and Mike was getting ready to shotgun a beer, and he was doing it the way where you take your key and you try and poke the little hole and pop the top and kind of drink the beer over the course of a minute. And my roommate, who at the time was on the rugby team, really nice guy, Jake, really nice guy, and he says, no, you're doing it wrong. He takes the beer can, opens his mouth, smashes it against his face, the beer can explodes, and he drinks the whole thing in about 15 seconds. And he just looks at us and says, that's how you chug a beer. That's a true Syracuse story.
All right, thank you for sharing that story, Josh. I've enjoyed them week by week. They've been fun. If you've missed some of the other stories Josh has told, just go back to some of the odd-numbered episodes, and you can hear Josh Gutterman embarrass me about my time at Syracuse University. Thank you to Ulysees Gilbert, Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker, for hopping on Mike Delivers. Appreciate the time. If you've missed any other episodes, guests, Dean Blandino, Ty Jerome, they're all here. Derek Walton from the NBA. Go on back. You can hear them all. They're all cataloged on Mike Delivers. And then on the Patreon page, a full list of bonus episodes. My wife and I talk about other foods, other places we've tried, and then just bullshit about our time here in quarantine, like when we both had COVID-19. That was a very depressing conversation, but one I thought was appropriate to have just to give some background on what it was actually like to go through this, as there's so much news, good information, misinformation, all the way around across all news platforms. Now I sound like I'm getting into newsman, which is not my intent here. Thank you, Ulysees Gilbert. Thank you, Josh Gutterman. Episode 76 drops on Thursday. We'll have a little Firehouse Subs turkey ham combo. You'll hear my thoughts on that one. The music you hear is from Beautiful Noise. This podcast would not be the same without them. Thank you very much. You are the soundtrack of Mike Delivers. This has been episode 75. We'll see you kids next time for episode 76. Been truck haul. I've been on my own for long enough. Maybe you can show me how to love. Maybe. I'm going through withdrawals. You don't even have to do too much. You can turn me on with just a touch. Baby, around in cities cold and empty. No one's around to judge me. I can't see clearly when you're gone. I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. I said, ooh, I'm drowning in the night. Oh, when I'm like this, you're the one I trust. Hey, hey, hey. All right, we don't need my clap in a minute.